Well, good morning and welcome everyone to July's monthly member briefing. We are so excited that you are here with us on this Thursday morning, the first day of July. I hope you all are excited for this long weekend. My name is Spencer Mapes, and I am excited to kick things off. Just a few things to let you know. These sessions are really designed to help our chamber members with the information, solutions, and connections needed to keep your businesses thriving. You've joined us in listen-only mode today with your microphones and camera muted, but don't let that stop the conversation. We love for you to put questions and comments in our chat box. We have a lot of great speakers lined up today, so really utilize the chat box to get some of your thoughts out there. So without further ado, though, I'd like to kick things off to President and CEO Jill Meyer of the Cincinnati USA Regional Chamber, who will be starting everything off for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Spencer. Good morning, everybody. As Spencer said, we're really honored that you are kicking off your July, but more importantly, for many people, we're kicking off a long holiday weekend, which I assure you will be a beautiful one because the forecasters say so. We wouldn't guess that this morning, but let's get this rain out of the way so we can move into some just a nice relaxing holiday weekend that we can all unwind a little bit, because I think everybody still needs a little unwinding. So before we get to our special guest this morning, who is Cincinnati City Manager Paula Boggs Muething, I have just a couple of things that I wanted to share with you. So let me pick up first. We've been doing a lot related to pandemic and helping people get back in action. And we've been doing a lot of that with our great partners at the Health Collaborative. And so I want to tell you about the latest thing we are doing with them, which is our continuing effort to get more people vaccinated. Listening to the news on the way in this morning, we're not anywhere near where we need to be as a country or as certainly our local community. Encourage everybody to get vaccinated. These variants that are out there are, or I should say the variant, the big one right now is not a pleasant one, and we want to make sure that that doesn't kick us into some other gear that we don't want to be in. Recently, one of the health experts was quoted as saying, "This is now a pandemic of the unvaccinated." So with that as our context, what we have done in another partnership with the Health Collaborative is set up a program to reach out directly into our member companies. We'll even reach into non-member companies because this is important for everybody. But we are now offering resources and information to connect businesses to get on-site vaccination clinics at your places of business. All the other data and facts that you want that come along with that, we can get to you too. But we have a new colleague named Kamaria Walton, who is daily on the phones, in your email, getting out news and information and really trying to get more businesses to encourage employees and make it as easy as possible by getting them on site. So if you are interested, call us, let us know. Maybe you've already heard from Kamaria. And if you know others who might be interested, please send them our way. It's so very important for us to get this economy back up to full speed. And that requires everybody who can to get vaccinated. Okay. Second, little housekeeping, because I don't want to wait on this one. Our member briefing next month, we have lined up our speaker, and it's somebody you want to hear from. It's Candace McGraw, who is the Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International Airport President and CEO. And there is so much happening at CVG. And if you know Candace even a little bit or know anything about her, you knew that it was inevitable that this would start happening at CVG when Candace took over. She is just a rock star. There are new flights, there are new offerings, there are new airlines, and really critically important to all of us, the economy that they are building out there, the economics that are happening in that CVG area. Think about Primair, think about DHL, also think about all of the other businesses that have located or are in the process of locating there. There is plenty to talk about with Candace. So please join us next month, and you can sign up now. And related to the first topic, I wanted to give you a really brief update. Many of you will remember, I hope everybody was aware of the Restart Task Force. This was a group of CEOs from across the region that we convened last March as soon as we were in lockdown mode We brought them all together in recognition that our economy was going to need some high-level guidance and some deep and wide guidance. And so we brought this group of CEOs together who responded immediately, getting out the restarting your business safely kits, formed the communications effort called RC3 that was keeping everybody informed and encouraging the next steps. They gave boosts to two of our major initiatives that we believe are critical coming out of the pandemic to keep the momentum going, with our Workforce Innovation Center, with our Minority Business Accelerator and its fund, just a lot of activity, and much, much more that maybe wasn't talked about out loud, but was definitely helping. We are convening that group today for the last time. It will be our last meeting. It will be a thank you to those CEOs who really rolled up their sleeves in an extra deliberate fashion to take care of our region while they were also taking care of our businesses. That closes a chapter for this pandemic for us at the Chamber. That feels good. We know the work's not over, but we know that we are well positioned at this point across the region to continue digging in, continue fighting, and to know that the worst of the pandemic, hopefully, is behind us. The last thing I had in my notes, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to share or not, so I might get in trouble for this, but I'm going to do it anyway, because what the heck, it's a rainy Thursday morning. I'm going to let you in on a secret, I think. If I say papa, what do you think of? At the Chamber, we think of Oktoberfest, and we're doing Oktoberfest this year, so great big hooray. We will be celebrating Oktoberfest in September, third weekend of September as usual, but with some additional shenanigans and fun going on. We know people are really eager to get back. We also know that Oktoberfest is one of those events that always draws people from across the community to bring people together and to make some fun memories. So we are doing it again, and you are, I believe, the first to know. So shh. And if I wasn't supposed to tell that, sorry to my colleagues. Okay, on to the business. You guys came here for a reason, and it was to hear our keynote speaker to start off. And I have the great privilege to introduce the city manager of the city of Cincinnati, Paula Boggs Muething. Paula was named while all of us were battling the pandemic, so was Paula, but in the middle of it, in July of 2020, she took on a new role as the CEO of the city of Cincinnati. That was after serving nearly 6 years as our city solicitor. Imagine coming into that position right at the forefront as the city was responding to the pandemic. And she led it steadily with compassion, with insight, and really helped the city navigate in a whole different level. She's a really creative leader, if you've paid attention. Earlier this year, even, she found a way to make a major investment in affordable housing in the city of Cincinnati with a historic investment, and the way she went about making that happen was nothing short of creative. Paula, her background, she received her BA in journalism and her Bachelor of Science in political science from UK. I'm sure there are some blue out here in our audience. She earned her law degree from the University of Cincinnati College of Law. And when she was there, she was obviously a rock star law student. She was a human rights fellow. She was a member of the Law Review. And later, she also studied community land reform at the Harvard Kennedy School. So, you know, I want to say one other thing, that while Paula was taking on the new job to lead the city through the pandemic, really one of the most difficult moments in history for all of us, and the city in particular as well. At the same time, Paula was fighting and beating cancer. And I understand that Paula just finished up her treatments this week. So Paula, thank you for coming to join us this morning. We're so eager to hear from you. We're so grateful for your leadership. We know how much you love the city, and it shows in your work, and we are grateful for you. So everyone, please help me welcome and thank Paula Boggs Muething for joining us this morning. Paula, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jill, for that very kind introduction. It was much appreciated. And thank you for the invitation to speak with your members and share some of what city government has been up to the past few months. I'm going to try to stick to my time here and give just a brief overview on a few topics, and then I think we could have a little bit more of a discussion. So I will start with just a very short overview of the strategic plan, our budget priorities, ARP priorities, which we just passed through the council, our largest budgetary risk over the next 2 fiscal years, and then just a brief overview of the affordable housing plan and policy initiatives that Jill had referenced. I start with our updated strategic plan because it has guided all of the major initiatives that we have undertaken since I became the city's manager. And given all of the challenges that our city government, our workforce, our citizens have faced over the last year and a half, it seemed really important to the executive team to return to the fundamentals of basic service delivery. So our 5 areas of focus are fiscal sustainability, excellent service delivery, public safety, supporting thriving neighborhoods, and growing economic opportunities. And as a result of this new plan, I've made several administrative shifts in order to assist our departments in improving service delivery and efficiency, including the establishment of the Office of Constituent Affairs, which will provide centralized customer service responsiveness that is tracked and reported out periodically. And we have also established the Offices of Human Services and Federal Grant Management within the City Manager's Office in order to ensure consistency in the city's support infrastructure. We relocated the Office of Procurement to within the City Manager's Office in order to ensure that the department receives the administrative support it needs to act quickly and decisively. And we have restructured the Departments of Community and Economic Development and Planning to allow those departments to realign more to mission with a focus on core services. And this summer, we are implementing an upgraded customer web portal to improve the citizen experience. And we are working through a restructure of the Buildings and Inspections Department and Human Resources Department. So as you know, last week we passed the city's biennial budget, and our primary focus was fiscal stability, which was made possible by the federal dollars from the American Rescue Plan. Those dollars enabled us to avoid a significant budget deficit in fiscal year 22, resulting from the revenue shortfalls and other economic impacts from COVID-19. And so the projected deficit for fiscal year 22 was $69.5 million, which we used ARP to fill. Over this past several years, we have faced, of course, budget deficits kind of in the $18 to $25 million range. But in fiscal year 21, the pandemic caused that deficit to increase to $73 million. So we were in fiscal year 21 required to take significant reductions that reduced staff and held positions vacant and had a lot of impacts on service delivery. So with the ARP funding, we were able to restore all of those one-time reductions. And this restoration aligns with our strategic plan, which focuses our commitment to excellent service delivery across the departments to meet the increased needs, particularly as our community is kind of coming back to life and those needs become greater. Our budget also exceeded the goal of allocating 1.4% of the general fund allocation to human services. Public safety was a focus in this budget. As you probably know, the onset of the pandemic saw an increase in violent crime and calls for service, and attrition of our public safety staff significantly increased during that time period. At this moment, we are down 90 sworn police officers, which is the equivalent of having an entire district offline. That is why our budget includes funding for 2 traditional recruit classes, in addition to upgrades in the crime analysts category, and gun crime intelligence center will be a new physical building and a new space for violent crime work. We've also done some upgrades to the emergency communications center. Our budget also included over $1.6 million in pedestrian safety and street calming projects and 30 community budget requests ranging from pedestrian safety improvements, crosswalks, sidewalks, recreation improvements, and things important to neighborhood quality of life. Moving on from the city budget, briefly on our American Rescue Plan dollars and funding priorities. We actually passed the American Rescue Plan funding for year one prior to the city's budget because we needed to use a good portion of those dollars in order to stabilize the city's budget through that one-time source. And those dollars under the ARP provided significant stimulus and recovery funding that intended to mitigate the fiscal effects stemming from COVID-19. And our allocation, which is split over 2 years, will be roughly $280 million. And so in order to allocate these dollars, the city administration developed certain funding priorities so that we could capitalize on this extraordinary opportunity. The first of which, of course, is fiscal stability, as I've already mentioned. And we use those funds to avoid budget deficits retroactively for fiscal year 21. As we look back, we needed to shore up kind of the budget deficits that we saw coming from that fiscal year. Then fiscal year 22, we've also used funding to fill that hole, as I mentioned, and then we have proposed their use for that purpose in fiscal year 23. Next on the priority list was job creation, economic growth, and housing stability. And accordingly, we recommended funding that invests in affordable housing, housing stability, incubators and accelerators, and back office business support. We also prioritize financial support for cultural institutions, small businesses, and community partners. Because these organizations have faced tremendous financial difficulties over the last year. They've taken on debt, in some cases had to cut staff or reduced operations. These are the kinds of institutions that really are uniquely Cincinnati, that energize our local economy. And we wanted to make sure that those public benefits remain for all Cincinnatians now and into the future. So we recommended millions of dollars in support for performing and visual arts institutions, restaurants and small businesses, and social service organizations. And then finally, we focused on restoring civic life in public spaces through neighborhood activation funds that will be deployed throughout the summer, fall, and spring to bring life and activity back into our neighborhoods and our communities. And we have only allocated funds for year one, but many of the same factors we sought to mitigate are likely to linger over the next year. So we have proposed the year two allocations. Of course, that will be subject to changing economic conditions and perhaps even leadership changes over the next year. On a topic that is perhaps slightly less pleasant, but certainly timely, yesterday the state legislature passed their budget. And despite earlier legislation that explicitly provided that all local income tax remains status quo in terms of collection, the legislature will now seek to require local governments to stand up a tax bureaucracy to process refunds for individuals whose city offices ask them to work remotely for pandemic or for other reasons. This will be one of the primary financial impacts to the city's earnings tax revenues. For fiscal year 21, we are projecting a $60 to $70 million deficit as a result of the remote work income tax. So that will be the impact on our general fund. There is, of course, some uncertainty because there are currently cases in litigation. This budget requirement will also certainly be litigated, but it is the state legislature's commitment to, it seems, undermining local self-determination and our ability to support the city infrastructure that really is responsible, as with many cities, for building Ohio's economy. I think it's worth mentioning that underlying the kind of the premise of any income taxes is that the money should go to pay for government services that support the economic activity of the region. All of our economic development requires infrastructure to support it, that is physical infrastructure and service government infrastructure. And I think the reasons that we have seen that Cincinnati is an attractive place to have a business, while it has changed over time, it used to be the river, then it was, the railroad and roads and bridges, but that's also changing with all of the advances we have made in technology. What we have seen as the driver of our current economy really is our labor pool and talent, which is a commodity that exists here because of our city's quality of life and public safety. In Cincinnati, that has really outpaced any other kind of infrastructure to maintaining our urban economy, is that availability of the talent and labor pool. And city neighborhoods like OTR and downtown and Hyde Park and Clifton and Pleasant Ridge and many others all provide that vitality, but also the outlying suburbs are derivative of the economic activity that is happening in the urban core. And our earnings taxes primarily fund public safety and infrastructure. So it is at least worth considering what happens to our economy, to our businesses, to the people that live here, to the ever important labor pool if our public safety and public infrastructure break down. Certainly our brand right now is as an affordable and safe city. On to my last topic, which is the affordable housing initiatives that Jill mentioned earlier. We recently released our affordable housing plan, which consists of establishing a $35 million loan pool at the Cincinnati Development Fund. That is a Section 108 loan pool that will be housed at CDF for management, distribution, underwriting, all of that. That will be supplemented by $8 million in ARP funding. And we will also aggregate the city's existing loan pool sources into another fund at CDF. And we are also hoping to work with partner entities to fundraise for additional sources for that loan pool. We will establish a housing advisory board under state law that will be tasked with setting the city's housing priorities and strategies. And they will advise CDF on those strategies and priorities. And under state law, there are several requirements for the individuals that fill that board. We have also started work on legislation to minimize the regulatory costs of housing development within the city. And certainly we would look to the business community for its continued support of these kinds of measures, from encouraging, I think, other would-be investors to at least look to aggregating funds at CDF if they are thinking of setting up their own kinds of housing investment funds. And also for providing support for efforts around reducing the regulatory framework. I think I will stop there and see if there's any questions or anything else to discuss. Thank you.
Paula, thank you. Just a few things you're working on, few minor things that you balls you have in the air right now. You actually did answer a question that came in for you. You answered it as part of your conversation about that, the work from home refunds. And I know there was a lot of discussion early about the impacts and really devastating impacts that could have on the city. So thank you for your leadership on working through that final analysis and getting to a solution. I want to jump right into a question in the few minutes we have here for Q&A that we love to ask people at the Chamber. The work that we do is all about building and growing this economy moving forward. And as part of that, you referenced the core asset we have here is the people who live here, the people who we can get to live here. The businesses build here and thrive here because of these people. And as we're looking at our work, we are doing it all through the lens of what our future city is and how we are building that. And to get to ask somebody in your position, what is your view or vision? What is Paula Boggs Muething's vision of the future city that we are building here? And what does that mean to you as you do your work today?
Well, I think it's I mean, for me at least, it's easy to envision what the future of Cincinnati looks like and what our future city is, because I think we have been working very hard over the last really decade to put the bones in place to build that out. And I think that really is around creating communities that are interconnected. So, have walkability, have a lot of amenities kind of at that neighborhood level, but that also connect into our urban core, which is really the center for all of our cultural excitement, our cultural institutions, and the kinds of things I think that bring real vibrancy to any kind of city. We have so much of that already here. And so I think connectedness is what I think is kind of the next phase of what we're looking for, and the ways that people can kind of move around through the city. I think bike lanes, those kinds of protected bike lanes are going to be really important to that, creating recreation throughout the city that is accessible to people in every single neighborhood. And I also think that making sure that we have really vibrant business districts within each neighborhood, those are the kinds of things that I see as ensuring that we have the current quality of life that we have come to expect enhanced to provide these additional amenities.
Thank you. I love the connectedness. It means so many different things all at the same time. Thank you for sharing that. We do have a question from Neil Tillow. He says, Paula, will there be ARP funds available for affordable housing in addition to the $35 million CDF loan fund?
Yes, so we did allocate $8 million in ARP funds to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and that happened in the year one allocation. I would expect that as long as we don't have to use most of the ARP funding to kind of fill budget deficits, that we would see a similar investment in year two. So, the ARP funds are slightly more restricted. I shouldn't say slightly, they're much more restrictive than you would see from general fund sources or other kinds of private dollars. But I think they will make a really big difference in the kind of, lower, the lower AMI housing.
Great. Thank you. Paula, you said it best earlier. There is a lot to do to build forward, and we are so grateful to have you in the position that you're in at the city. The city has been a great partner to the Chamber and to the business community in so many ways, and in particular during these COVID challenges. We really appreciate at the Chamber your partnership, your investment in particular in our Taste of Cincinnati funds to help keep our restaurants on their feet through the pandemic and moving forward all through the summer. So thank you on behalf of everyone here at the Chamber and our member businesses for the great partnership that the city has extended to us, and we look forward to working with you even more going forward. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you very much.
And now I believe I turn the floor over to Thomas Deere, my colleague, our Vice President of Membership. Thomas, you're on mute.
Thank you, Jill. As Jill stated, I'm the Vice President of Sales and Engagement. I'm entering my third month with the Chamber. And I want to thank each of you for your Chamber membership and for being a true partner with us. I truly believe together we're going to do amazing things going forward, especially coming out of this pandemic. Everything seems like a blank slate, and it's just right for us to chart our course. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce 4 Chamber members implementing significant initiatives to connect and grow our local economy. This morning, you're going to hear from DHL Express and Angie Reese, Document Destruction and Mike Callahan, Grace Health Scrubs and Tina Payne, and Sunrise Treatment Centers and Dr. Jeffrey Bill. First up is Angie Reese. She's the Director of Human Resources at DHL Express. I'm pleased to say that DHL is a momentum investor here at the Chamber. DHL's North American hub, located here in the greater Cincinnati region, is a super hub and serves 220 countries. They are a global leader in the logistics industry, specializing in international shipping, courier services, and transportation. Welcome, Angie.
Thanks so much, Thomas. I'm actually going to turn it over to my colleague, Dion, who is our Senior Manager at DHL for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. She's going to start us off.
Great.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for having us today. I'm only going to hit on a few of these things that you see in front of you on the screen, because I want to make sure that I'm being mindful and respectful of your time. Again, my name is Dion Marinos, and I've only been with DHL for a few months. And so I wanted to come in and share with you what we're doing internally to kind of create an inclusive environment from a completely DEI perspective, to make sure that all of our employees feel welcome and that they have a sense of belonging here at the company. As you see at the top, that Be Kind campaign was simply something that we wanted to do as we come in out of this pandemic. Like, DHL didn't stop, but now you're seeing the restaurants and the shops are open now. And it's, getting back to normal, but it's been a really rough year, right? For some folks, worse than others. And so we wanted to make sure that we were reminding each other to be kind, not only to each other, but to ourselves, and allow us some grace as we come out of this pandemic. So what we did was we bought a bunch of kind bars in different varieties, stood at the entryways, the main entryways of the buildings, and just handed out kind bars and kind of reminded each other, we appreciate you. Please be kind to yourself and to your coworkers. Being a DAI, I worked for 5 years at UC, and so I recognized coming in that I needed to first understand the culture here at DHL before I could start to do anything. I had to talk with folks and find out what was happening, what is it like here for employees. And so I developed a quantitative survey I just closed a couple of weeks ago, just finished this morning running the data. We'll use that data to develop some roundtables. We've got some volunteers who want to sit down and talk about DE&I, what it means to them, and maybe make some suggestions of how we can be more inclusive. So those can be taking off in the coming days. The rest of the things there, I'm happy to talk with you offline about what we've done. I will say that we developed a pledge as part of our overall celebration of diversity, our employee appreciation, Pride Month, a pledge that says we will commit to treating each other with kindness and respect, that we are committed and to creating an inclusive environment where everyone feels a sense of belonging, and promising that we are going to do our part personally to make sure that DHL CVG is the employer of choice of Northern Kentucky and Greater Cincinnati. And so we've had 4 huge banners. We've got hundreds of employees to sign that. We'll be showing that with our employees and in our promotions moving forward. Finally, I want to talk with you a little bit about what we've done externally. We are developing a relationship with Woodward Career Technical High School, making a gift to them to help, support the teams there that need that support. We're also going to be working with Arnett, continuing our relationship with Arnett Elementary. And finally, we are developing our relationships with African American Chamber, Hispanic Chamber, and look forward to continuing to build our relationship with the Cincinnati Chamber as well.
And I'll take just a second, because I know we're short on time, but I kind of wanted to talk, she was talking a little bit about the community things that we're doing and the external involvement. We've been working for the last 4 years with Cincinnati Public Schools to create a co-op program and opportunities for students who may not otherwise have this opportunity. So they can work with us while they're in high school, and then they can continue on with us after. So we've, over the last 4 years, we've had 65 students that have participated in that. So it's been a great program, and we look to continue with that. And then if you want to go to the last slide, the last thing I'll highlight is our partnership with Workforce Connection through Cincinnati Works. We brought on a workforce coach to really focus on our employees' physical, financial, and emotional and mental well-being. And so that pilot that we did, it lasted about 8 months, I think it was very successful. And so now we're going to have 2 full-time coaches on site to help employees remove barriers that would keep them from coming to work and being their best selves while they're here. So thanks so much for your time. Thanks, Dion, for sharing what we're doing here, and look forward to hearing from the other speakers.
Thank you both. Love the initiatives at DHL. Kind bars, what an awesome idea. So simple, but so awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Next up is Mike Callahan, owner operator of Document Destruction. Document Destruction has been a member since 2011. They protect your business through secure paper shredding and are the official document shredder of the Cincinnati Reds. Their goal is to provide their customers with cost-effective solution for on-site destruction while ensuring security and peace of mind. They treat it as if it was their own sensitive information. Welcome, Mike.
Button. Can everybody hear me? Am I good?
Perfect.
All right, great. Thank you. So, like I said, Mike Callahan, owner of Document Destruction. The past 17 years, I'm trying to talk fast because I want to get a lot in. We've been providing on-site certified document shredding to the greater Cincinnati, Dayton, Northern Kentucky area, anywhere within about 100 miles of downtown Cincinnati. And like I said, we do on-site shredding. So that means we're rolling to you with a document shredding truck, and we are shredding those private and confidential records right there in your parking lot or at curbside in front of you. Now, a lot of businesses don't think they need a shred service. Number one, we're too small. Listen, if you collect information on anyone for any reason, even employees, the law is you must properly safeguard it. And when it's time to destroy it, you must properly destroy it, meaning burn, pulverize, or shred. And a lot of businesses don't think they need a shred service because we'll just shred it ourselves. And it's costs less and it's more secure to use a service than to do it yourself. And the industry research shows that. And then one of the big dirty little secrets, I'm going to do it interactive here, is that employees don't shred the stuff. And so what most businesses do is, I don't know if everybody can see, but you would have like a container like this, usually set it right next to the copier. And even if you have a small office, we only have 4 people in our office, and we fill one of these every couple of days or once a week. And so if you decide to use our service, you're going to get an attractive looking container like this. You're going to be on a schedule, usually every maybe 2 weeks or 4 weeks. My driver is going to show up. He's going to empty the contents of that unit. He's going to walk it out to the parking lot. I hope it's not raining too much. It's raining a little bit. And he's going to shred those right here in front of you with that shredding truck, keeping you fully. You have a rec compliance that you've done the shredding. It's really raining. But if you have any questions, please call me or go to our website and you can contact me through that. But we would love to help any business make sure that they're fully compliant and avoid any of the pitfalls of any kind of security breach. Thank you. I'm done. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Mike. I should have mentioned Document Destruction takes care of the chamber, and we just went through a whole process as everyone's coming back to the office of going through old documents and old files, and they were an integral part of what we've done. I think in our 3 monthly member briefings, this is the first time that we've had somebody take it out into the parking lot. So thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce one of the Chamber's newest members, Grace Health Scrubs. Here with us today is the owner, Tina Payne, who is a published author, educator, business coach, and international speaker. Grace Health Scrubs is a local uniform retailer that supplies medical apparel, footwear, accessories, and personal diagnostic equipment to hospitals and long-term care facilities nationwide. They empower organizations to improve team performance, boost staff morale, and improve patient satisfaction by implementing a cohesive departmental brand appearance that reflects the excellent care that is being provided. Welcome, Tina.
Hello, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm I'm so excited to be here and be one of the newest members of the chamber. Like Thomas said, I am a new business in the community. We've actually, Grace Health Scrubs started in 2017, primarily online as e-commerce store. My background is in nursing, so I've been a registered nurse for over 16 years, and I branched out to launch this business in 2017 to basically make fashion more, or make scrubs more fashionable. And so we love to provide our hospitals and local skilled nursing facilities with, nice uniforms for their staff. A lot of times there are no real rules that facilities have when it comes to their staff, but we like to let them know that their branding definitely matters to the patients and their families, and they are representing their company. And so one of the things that we offer is a free audit that we would do, an employee apparel audit at the facility to basically be the eyes and ears and provide that feedback to administrators for them as they are working through creating an employee apparel program. Our website, Grace Health Scrubs, we have an area on there where groups and companies can go ahead and get signed up or reach out to us if they are interested in providing bulk uniforms for their staff. We also work with school systems. Although we've been online, we've been working outside of Ohio quite a bit. We have contracts in other states that we provide uniforms for allied health programs. And now recently on June 5th, we just opened up our first brick and mortar here in Cincinnati, Ohio. And so we are located at 903 West North Bend Road, 45224 near Winton in North Bend. And I'm so excited now that we've taken our online and brought it to the forefront of the community, and we are essentially located so that way people don't have to go out to the outskirts to look for their uniforms or medical apparel. So I'm so excited to be able to provide that service to our local community. We look forward to partnering with not only healthcare providers. We have a company in Cleveland right now who is not in healthcare, who just requested a quote for scrubs for their warehouse. And so it goes beyond just healthcare. It's a lot of times it's about comfortability, as well as durability for staff. And so we encourage, if you know anyone or any company who is looking to make that transition where they have that, that brand awareness and they want that comfortability for their staff. And sometimes it's just easier, to just throw in a pair of scrubs and just go to work. It's like you don't have to think about what you're going to wear the next day. Please reach out to us either on our website, there's contact form, or you can reach us by email at info@gracehealthscrubs.com. And then our phone number is 513-429-4184.
Great job, Tina. Thank you. We're excited to help you grow and watch you grow that business here in Greater Cincinnati. Thank you. For our last showcase, we'll hear from Dr. Jeffrey Bill. He's the founder and CEO of Sunrise Treatment Center. Sunrise Treatment Center was founded in 2007 as a simple office-based opioid treatment program that has grown into a network of comprehensive outpatient substance abuse treatment facilities. There are 7 locations operating in the region and 3 more planned to open this year. And I think it'll be the first one to open in Northern Kentucky as well. It's Sunrise's mission to provide the highest quality experience for their patients while providing a great place to work for their employees. I'm pleased to say that Sunrise Treatment Center has been a Momentum investor since 2018, and I welcome Dr. Bill.
Thomas, thank you, and thanks to the Chamber for allowing me to spend a few minutes talking about Sunrise Treatment Center. First off, I want to assure everybody that I am the man in the picture that you see. I know I look a little different, but I have someone very close to me going through cancer treatment right now. And so when she lost her hair, I decided that I would get rid of the hair that was available to me. So my beard went away, and I'm waiting to make a decision once she finishes her treatment as to whether to grow the beard back or update my profile picture. So time will tell. If we can go on to the next slide. a little bit about the growth that Sunrise has had over the past 5 years or so. And certainly, as you can imagine, the pandemic's been very challenging for people with substance use issues. Unfortunately, we did lose some progress that we were making over the past couple years with helping to kind of reduce the severity of substance use in the area and overdose deaths. Fortunately, we were able to continue to operate in a way to keep our employees safe and to make sure that our patients had access to our life-saving treatment. And we were able to continue with our plans to continue to grow and serve other communities. So during the pandemic, we were able to open our 6th location in Piqua last May and our 7th location in Over the Rhine last November. And like Thomas said, we have 3 more facilities planned to open this year. The next one will be just across the river in Florence. You want to go on to the next slide. There's a little bit of information about our patients, and you can see that the amount of services that we're providing in a year has been steadily increasing over the past 6 years. There was a larger uptick in 2019, but that's when we ended up acquiring another local program in the Milford area that wanted to focus more on their residential treatment. And so we assumed services for their outpatient patients. And so we had a bit of an uptake there. And then with our ongoing growth, the amount of services that we're able to provide to help people has been increasing. We do serve a primarily Medicaid population. A lot of our patients need that level of support when they're first getting into recovery. And so as many as 98 or 99% of our patients are covered by Medicaid. And our show rate is really, really high, as you'll see, which is pretty remarkable for not only a patient population that's struggling with substance issues, but also currently supported by Medicaid. In a lot of private practices, your average show rate is probably more down in the 60 or 70% range. You'll see that we're pretty effective at helping people to discontinue their use of opiates. And even when it comes to discontinuing the use of all substances, our rates are in the 60 to 70% range. We look at addiction as more of a chronic disease that can be managed. It can be treated, it can be managed, it can't be cured. And so we take a more chronic disease management approach, which is oftentimes longer term care. And so over 40% of our patients that we begin treatment with, we're still helping a year later. And that's kind of the average retention and relapse rates that you'll see with other chronic health conditions too. The next slide, I believe, shows a little bit about some of our growth in employment over the years as well. Right now, we're just shy of 200 people helping us out. You can see the breakdown of the different types of positions that we offer. We're also very proud of our staff retention rate, as you'll see over the past 5 or 6 years that it's stayed in the 80% and higher range. Our industry standard, unfortunately, is down around 50% or less. So we're very proud of the approach that we take to kind of our work expectations and our work environment that leads to a high staff satisfaction and retention rate. And you can see some of the things that the statistics in the bottom right there, as far as our growth of employees over the past 6 years, as well as our efforts to make sure that we're providing living wages and comprehensive benefits to make sure that we're doing right by the people who are providing the services to the patients who need it. And I think our last slide here is just some of the affiliations that we have. We created our model of care is actually the first of its kind in the state of Ohio. And we're also achieved designation as a certified B Corporation. We're coming up on our year anniversary of that, and we're the first opiate treatment program in the United States to achieve that designation. It's also important to us, to affiliate with Ohio Business Competes and the Workforce Innovation Center to help make sure that we are thinking about employment in a way that's life supporting and inclusive. And then we're happy to brag that we've been able to achieve top workplaces status 3 out of the past 4 years. And actually this year, we ended up ranked first in the medium-sized business category. So appreciate the time and thanks for everyone's attention.
Thank you, Dr. Bill, for your words and congratulations on those new expansion locations. I want to thank these 4 members for being part of our monthly member briefing. If you are interested in being part of the program, please go to cincinnatiChamber.com/monthly member briefings and submit an interest form. I'm going to turn it over to Brendan.
Hi, Thomas. How are you? Thank you, everybody, for being here on the call today. I'm just going to go really quickly and direct you all to our website. I was going to give a brief update about our Realm magazine. We deliver every quarter to about 5,000 of CEOs in this region, this Realm magazine, which is the Journal for Queen City CEOs. It's a 64-page full color magazine that we produce in conjunction with Cincinnati Magazine. It is chock full of incredible content, stories about the most important aspects of our economy, about what's important to make sensible and forward-looking business decisions. And it's just a terrific resource. You can sign up to get it as an executive on our website. So if you go to the Cincinnati Chamber's website, there's a link to Realm. You can view previous issues. Our new issue comes out in just a few weeks with a cover story about the future city, a full story about the housing issue in our region, not just about affordable housing, but about housing, period, and a really fascinating oral history of the creation of 3CDC and what it did here in our community. Plus, there's tons of other features about executives and leaders in our region. I encourage you to check it out. There are advertising opportunities for it if you want to get the word out about your business. And you can see it all online. So please sign up for Realm, check it out online, and thank you for being here today. I'll turn it back to you, Thomas.
Thank you, Brendan. The Cincinnati Regional Chamber is a total of 10 benefit partners who offer ways to save you money on everyday business expenses. Today, we're excited to have David Goodwin, the managing partner and co-founder of Advanced Technology Consulting, ATC, as our featured cost savings partner. ATC offers deep expertise covering 4 core areas of information technology: voice, network, cloud, and security. Their clients state the differentiators with ATC are a proven consulting process, a true attention to detail, an expansive portfolio of providers, and great personal support. A client recently said, "We love working with ATC because ATC is a one-stop shop. They researched new technologies, obtained multiple vendor bids, and held our hand during implementation and through follow-up support." I am pleased to welcome David Goodwin, a proud alumnus of Leadership Cincinnati, class of 38, and a leader in our CEO roundtables. David?
Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate it. A little plug for the chamber here. I was Leadership Cincinnati class number 38. Of course, that was the best class ever. For those of you that have been through Leadership Cincinnati, you'll know what that means. If you haven't, well, maybe you'll just have to go through their program. I'm also been a member of the CEO Roundtable, their CEO Roundtable program since 2007. That's been instrumental in terms of growing our business and getting new ideas and avoiding challenges, just your typical mastermind group of sorts. So plug to the chamber for those 2 things. As Thomas said, thank you for that intro, and thank you to all the attendees that are still on this call today. I'll speak quickly because I know I only have a few minutes now, but as Thomas said, we're an independent IT consulting firm specializing in digital transformation, 4 core segments: voice, network, cloud. And when we say security, although it does include physical security, it's primarily cybersecurity. Big difference is you have about 400 different providers in our marketplace or in our portfolio. And quite frankly, we're not beholden to any of them. It's all about finding the solution or the provider that's going to, serve the customer's objective best. As we move into the state of, that's enough on ATC, as we move into the state of IT, I think we all know in 2020, and more specifically as a result of COVID, it expedited the need for digital transformation. Within a couple of weeks, I think, of Governor DeWine's stay-at-home order, we helped transition maybe more than 10,000 office-dedicated employees to a work-from-home environment. So that's kind of our part of helping the business community and helping the community at large. But we all saw that massive migration where digital transformation became more important as we continue to try to do our jobs effectively, efficiently, and so on and so forth. And like nothing before COVID really pushed us that way at a rapid pace. And speaking of rapid pace, the rate of change in the IT industry today is exponentially accelerating. I'm sure all of you are seeing it in your businesses. You have to be able to, your network and your applications, they have to be on, they got to be available, they have to be secure. You need to be able to work anytime, anywhere. And it's challenging not only the people that are using those technologies, but obviously the IT firms that are trying to get from maybe where they were or where they are today to where they're going as we move to more hybrid work models, which kind of is a good segue into what I want to reference next. If you look, a quote from Boston Consulting Group says, hybrid work models done right allow organizations to better recruit talent, achieve innovation, and create value for all stakeholders. So at the end of the day, you're enabling your employees to blend their working from home, on the go, at the office, sometimes even on vacation, wherever that might need to be and whenever that might need to be. Moving on to the next section, kind of moves into that anywhere operations is, your business and your applications and your technology stacks need to be accessible and delivered anywhere. And when you think about anywhere, I mean, literally anywhere you can get an internet connection today. You have to be able to do your work. It's a digital first and a remote first type environment that we're living in today. As you think about like for instance, if I were to use a phone system in the past, it was something you received calls, made calls, or maybe you got a voicemail if you couldn't answer those calls. Today, when you look at the collaboration and the productivity among teams, and they're remote and they're in the office and a combination of both, they're turning to things like unified communications, which means when you think of it's unified communications or UCaaS, unified communications as a service, like think Microsoft Office 365. It's something that used to be, you'd have an Exchange server on site. Now it's moved to the cloud. And you think about unified communications now, it means maybe a desk phone, a desktop app, and a headset. Could be SMS, could be MMS, could be web chat, email, mobile, smartphone, laptop, tablet, and obviously, as this call is showing, video, all of which can now be integrated into your phone system when you think of unified communications. When you move into like collaboration services too, you think about there's Zoom, there's Ring Central, there's PGI, there's 8x8, there's Teams, obviously. I mean, I know many of you are probably thinking Teams, because a lot of the big organizations have gone that route and they're kind of all in on that. But as we move into phone systems and things like Teams and collaboration services, there's more and more of a need today to integrate those things with CRM, marketing tools, ticketing systems, door buzzers, overhead paging, and a variety of other applications that you might have to increase productivity and efficiencies. I'm kind of running out of time here. I don't know much. I was a little bit short in terms of what was left over, and I don't want to go too far because others might have a hard stop at 9 o'clock. But the last thing would be cybersecurity. You have to think about how are you securing your data? When you have people working anywhere, anytime, how are you securing that data? It's getting harder for IT. It used to be you had an office and you had a firewall and you protected your perimeter. Unfortunately, it's a lot more than that today because people are working from anywhere all the time, and the hackers are more prevalent than ever. The bad actors are increasing and they're getting smarter. So in the IT field, budgets are increasing for that, and we have to get a little bit smarter in terms of the way we take care of that stuff. But last little plug, we have a chamber benefit program. We do an audit and assessment of your existing voice and network services for up to $1,500 worth of consulting time. Usually we find, I don't know, upwards of 30-35% in savings. In addition, we'll offer a couple hours of free consultation regarding that audit and assessment of where you are in your IT environment today. And then we'll also throw in an hour of cloud and or cybersecurity consultation, especially for those firms that maybe have 50 or more employees. Thomas, was that fast enough?
That was fantastic. And I just want to say ATC does fantastic work. And I encourage everyone on the call to contact David and take him up on this great offer and this great opportunity to see how you can better your systems and save money. So thank you, David, and the ATC team for your partnership. Lastly, for me, on behalf of the Chamber, I want to wish you all the safest and most enjoyable holiday weekend. We look forward to coming back refreshed next Tuesday and pushing forward. Thank you. Spencer?
Thomas, you said it best. Thank you all for joining us today and hanging out with us as we heard from some great speakers. Please join us again on August 5th at 8 a.m. We are going to hear from Candace McGraw, Chief Executive Officer with CVG, to learn all about some of the best kind of travel plans for this summer and how to get back up in the air. Again, our monthly member briefings are exclusive for Chamber members, and they're held on the first Thursday of every month, offering timely and important news, business connections, and much more. To register for these sessions, please go to cincinnatiChamber.com/events. Now, I do want to offer the opportunity for anyone still on the call that wants to hear more from David in ATC. This can be a little bit interactive. You can ask some questions about the deals that are exclusive to Chamber members as far as what's available at ATC. So if you have questions, put them in the chat box. We'll hang out for a few minutes and we'll kind of go from there. But this is the official kind of sign off. So if you have to get back to your morning, well, have at it. But again, we're here to answer any questions that are out there.